Sesko, is it to be or is it not to be? Find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Oh, brilliant from Sham. And now Murphy will take on the shot. Fabian Sham
All right. Good evening, good evening, folks. I am so blessed to have you guys already. It's always super encouraging to see in the chat. Absolutely off the chain before I even started the show, and already seeing people watching live as well. And it is absolutely a blessing to have you all here today because, as always, you could have been anywhere in the world doing anything else, but you chose to spend your evening here with me on Toon Tactics TV, and God bless you all for being on here tonight. So, folks, we are going to be talking about. We're not even going to be talking about the preseason game against Tottenham because that was a decent performance, I thought. I don't think we're going to have time for that. Nor are we going to do a scouting report of Mr. Jack Credoni, who's a decent player if we do get him. We are going to be talking all things Sheshko, all things Isak as well. Goodness gracious me. And read an article from, as always, our one of my favorite media outlet guys, Mark Douglas from the Iron newspaper. So we've got a lot going on, and I'm sure if we get any news live in regards to Sheshko, whether he joins Newcastle or not, do let me know, folks, in the chat. And if you do get it, do let me know the source. Hopefully it's a legitimate source, and we will check it out live here tonight. But before we get into it, as I said, there's tons of people in the chat already. Good to see my man Dave Vieri. God bless you, sir. Philip, it's looking a bit shaky regarding Sheshko. I was 99% sure at midday. Then their offer came in, and it looks like he was waiting for that. So I would say they are favourites now. A lot of people are thinking that. I'm going to be discussing. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of the media releases, a lot of the media outlets. How essentially I think narrative. Whoever controls the narrative controls the minds of the people. I sounds a bit like political, but honestly, I don't know what you guys' feelings are about this, but there's been like we're learning so much, and it's so interesting to see even fans kind of not. I don't know about turn, but look at the likes of some of our tier one sources and others as well. Like you guys essentially seen that they're not objective. They're not. It's there's a lot going on. But we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss the narratives. We're going to see what's the truth, and it's always hard to know what the truth is, to be honest. I want us to be. I want to be certainly a lot more critical when I look at what's been released, what reports, even if they favour Newcastle, I would want to know. So good to see you, Davey. Evening to you, Kim Cam. God bless you. Evening to you all. God bless you, Cy Robson. Good to see you. Evening, Philip and the chat. Good to see you, Cy. Nat, good to see you. God bless you, Nat. Hi, Phil and the chat. Yes, indeed. Good to see you, Nat. Please give us some good news, something. I wish I could now. I can feel all of us on the edge. If you're on social media and stuff like that, I don't know. Again, in real life, what it's like. I'm going to be going down Newcastle on Friday for the Seller Cup as well. So if anybody sees me, guys, don't be afraid to come and say hello as well. So I'm going to be down at Newcastle on Friday to watch the game. Oh yeah, and you said I feel so disrespected that no one wants to join us. How can player development not be a pool? Man United finished 15th last year. 15. There's always different things that pull different players to different areas. And the one thing, I'm going to be objective here, because this is the one thing I do criticize some of my fellow content creators who claim to be objective, is that if it was Newcastle that had the history of Man United, I don't know. I would still feel confident, for instance, if I were to go against another team that only won one trophy in the space of 50 to 70 years. Now, that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. I don't know about Sesko. I don't know what his mind is in terms of that. We have to remember that we've still got quality players that join us regardless. Even when we're fighting relegation, and Bruno Gomeres, Kieran Trippier, and guys like that. And felt, and that we won other bidding wars against the likes of AC Milan for Sven Botman, and we've got Tonali, and we've got Gordon, and we've got we've got Isak just about. So yeah, I'm gonna be as objective as I can, as much as it irks me to be so. But we'll see what happens. I know that with Newcastle taking a lot of hits in terms of rejections, but I'm going to maintain the line. We went for quality players. In fact, I'm going to be talking about it in my meet. We're going to talk about Aston Villa's purchase of Evan Gusson and why nobody's talking about that, because it's essentially and I'm not saying he's a quality player or not quality player, but who did Aston Villa had to fight to get Evan Gusson from Nice? They had to fight Crystal Palace. Now, if Newcastle had to go in for Evan Gusson against Aston Villa and Crystal Palace, and we've got Champions League and we're League Cup winners, I would fancy us to win it. But Newcastle chose, and I agree with the choice, to go for quality players and to fight out with the elite teams. So that's my take on it. And every fan who supports, I'm not every fan, excuse me, it's not all for every fan. To some of the fans who support, clubs, elite clubs that are the legacy clubs and whatnot, who like to dig, like to poke fun, a lot of them have never seen their team come from zero to from the ground from ground zero to achieving something. And we're blessed, and we have the privilege. You couldn't get any lower than being championship. You couldn't get any lower than fighting relegation, second from bottom when the takeover happened. We came from nothing to be where we are today, and I'm extremely, extremely happy, and I'm glad about that. That I've got to witness it, that we've got to witness it as Newcastle fans. There's not many people that have had a chance to see that. So Robson, God bless you. I honestly think that Sesko will go to Manure and we'll move on to Goncalo Ramos from PSG. Hey, there's always that possibility. I understand it. I'm going to give it 2 minutes on the chat, and then I will start with my kind of version of the media and everything that's going on. I was brave to put out the thumbnail, and I was worried. I was like, I'll get onto it in a moment, actually. Nat says, Man, you put a lower bid after it says it's full. That is curious. What do you guys think about that? Geordie Toon for life. God bless you. Good to see you, Geordie Toon for life. Good evening, Philip. Keep the faith. Things will turn around when you least expect it. I love that. And that's my attitude, not just to Newcastle, but to life in general. And that says, I'm seeing Liverpool are linked to Ramos as well. That's not a bad thing. I hope they'd be put in a bid. I honestly feel like the top big six hierarchy or whatever are set around the table all together and conjuring up some plan to steal everyone. They are threatened. I think it's just interests that have aligned, and they have a lot of. It's all right. You can rant now. You rant in the most polite and professional way, to be honest. So I don't mind your rants now. You rant away. Kim Cam, God bless. I think I already blessed you. I'll bless you again. God bless you, Kim Cam. Nat, oh yeah, you're talking to Cam and Nat there as well. Nat says, I really pray we do what we do best. And show what we are on the pitch, where it matters. I'm tired of the media nonsense around the club. My algorithm is full of it. Yeah, look, listen. When you're fighting to be the top, when you're fighting to be the best, this is it. This is what relevance looks like. Evening from Ferdinand Crimson, evening from Ghana. God bless you. Etisen, my brother. Akwaba, welcome to you. And we've got 1 more minute and I'll get on to the show as well. Already incredible, by the way, to see. It's so fantastic to see 60 people in our chat already. It's absolutely phenomenal. Please do like, share, and subscribe. We have an exceptional like to ratio between like and viewer. Last time, just to let you guys know, our average viewers on Tuesday was 90 plus, and we broke the 100 likes as well. That ratio is absolutely phenomenal. And we've got out, I think maybe you guys correct me, we had about 1,000, 2,000 views. Absolutely phenomenal. It's because you guys engage in the chat, you guys like, you guys share, you guys do everything to get this channel out there. And we've seen so many new people come in, even and from rival fans as well, who are enjoying the show. and they enjoy being in the chat, and it's absolute credit to you. So guys, please do continue to like, share, and subscribe. Let's see if we can break the 100 likes today as well. Joe Bailey says, "Why doesn't Yassir get any criticism?" I don't know. If he deserves to get criticism right at this moment in time. I think that's something that will certainly, it's certainly up for debate. For me personally, he's down at Newcastle. He's moving things around. He's moving and shaking. Let's see what happens. Matt Lou from South, but it's certainly a very good debate and conversation that we will have. Matt Lou says, God bless you, Matt Lee, order from South Africa. We've got people from Ghana, from South Africa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Philip. Hello to you, sir. I hope you're doing well, my brother. It's not looking good in the market. If we fail to get Sesko or Sheshko, we'll end up being overcharged for average players. Possibly, that is always a possibility. Always a possibility with how things are going. I think, though, we'll be able to turn things around. Peter Shields. If Sesko, God bless you. I don't know if it's your first time to the channel. It's my first time seeing you, but welcome, welcome, welcome. Peter Shields says, if Sheshko chooses Man United, we should try to get Strand Larson. He has been mentioned from Wolves. Okay, he has just signed for them, but 23 million tempt them away with 60 million, and I think we'll get him. Then buy Wissa. Would you like that with partnership, Strand Larson and Wissa? I think I don't think that we'll get away with that. I don't think the ownership will get away with that. I really don't think so. A couple more chat. I keep on saying I'm going to give it 2 minutes. I'll give it 2 more minutes, and we'll say hello to the chat. Matt Lou, I like Ivan Gosson, but I don't think we'd get 2 African strikers because of AFCON. I don't think it's because of that. I think we're just aiming for better. We've aimed for better. Even though I don't know Ivan Gosson that well, but I just think we're aiming for better, and that's why we're up against it. Matt Lee says, I like Evan. Oh, no, sorry, I already read that one. Unaya, good bless you, Unaya. Good to see you. Says, evening, Philip, and the chat. Okay, 1 minute, and I'll move on. Ferdinand says, exactly for me, if NUFC has to buy, I will mow and buy Goncalo Ramos and integrate more of the young players to the senior team. Good to see people already finding solutions. Unaya says, my Trafford litmus test failed. Time to restructure the entire board. Remind me, Unaya, what was your litmus test? Nat says, everyone like, comment, subscribe. Yes, folks, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Chills, good to see you. God bless you. Good evening to you, sir. Bobby Fairview, my man, Bobby Fairview. God bless you. Good to see you. Big up Philip and the chat. The Chelsea Firestorm start. It has. Goodness gracious. I think, Bobby, you let me know, but I think even you're a bit surprised about how well you're selling. Absolutely impeccable. Players are going for book value. Why isn't Newcastle coming for these discounts? So trying to get the best. We might end up being there. I don't know. And I got Emmanuel Yaboa. Good evening from Ghana. Another one from Ghana. God bless you, Emmanuel. Good to see you. Aquaba and Etisane to you. Ghana, please, any update on no current update on Sheshko. Let me just double check before I continue with the show. Let's see. Do we have anything on air? No, nothing on X. For a minute, I saw RB Leipzig are speaking to Liverpool. I said, you've got to be kidding me. I said, no. I said, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah, no, don't tell me it's Liverpool again. All right, one more, and we'll get on with the show. And as Geordie Toon for Life, my problem with the other YouTube channels, they never put context on why we missed out. No, it depends on the channel. I'll let you finish. Out on players, they really act like 12-year-old, not adults. It's embarrassing, including Judge Mo is one of is. I see your point of view, Geordie Toon. Judge Mo is one of my guys. I'm going to be always a privilege to come on his show. I do also believe, and I do think there's a bias, and sometimes people don't always notice it, to be honest. And even myself, and sometimes I have to point it out. I do feel there's a bias, and it's been difficult, whether it's Judge or whether it's any other channel, and to kind of add context and to read into things. Having said that, he runs a terrific show, and he has his own philosophies that he's very strong on, and not many people can boast about that. There's a lot of people that just go with the flow. And to be fair to And to be fair to Judge Mode, he has his philosophy. All right, let's talk about everything around Sheshko, the story. I'm gonna take us through the journey so far. I hope they don't make any announcements while I'm telling the story, because jeez Louise, that will change the channel a little bit. All right, so Newcastle United to unveil Sheshko, question mark. Is he going to be here? And I had that question mark, and people have been talking about it. It looks like, because of everything that is um because because everything the media are saying, and it's different people in the media. And this is what I said to you at the beginning of the show: narratives. In my view, narratives are, whoever controls the narratives controls the minds of the people and where it's at. It doesn't mean that people aren't always truthful, but I think narratives is playing a big part. It's played a big part in unsettling Isak and the situation that we're in now. And so it's very, very powerful. So look, I need you guys' views. I need you guys' opinions. I need you guys to say, because as I'm going through this journey, there's going to be tons of stuff I'm going to forget. I'm not going to go too far back, because goodness gracious me. But I need you guys to fill in the gaps. I need you guys to add the nuance. I need you guys to give your views. I need you guys to agree, to disagree, to be somewhere in the middle. And we'll talk about it today. Whether you're a Newcastle fan, from an opposition fan, whatever you're doing, I need to hear your views and opinions and discuss them on the show. Okay, so I want to start off with this. And this happened on August the 1st. How I've read it and what I've seen. And this is a report that was given by this gentleman from Slovenia, from the Delo newspaper. His name is Suhaldolnik. He's a Slovenian journalist. I think he's their chief editor for the Delo newspaper, which is one of their big media newspapers. And on August the 1st, remember, he had, before he sent this post, by the way, he had like 300 or 400 views or something, like followers or something like that. Something like that, about 800 maybe followers. For this post alone, he received 2.7 million views. And before I read it, I have to say, I'm going to give this to him. He's pinned it on his profile, and he has not unpinned it since. He has not unpinned it. He is a chief journalist, chief editor for the in Slovenia. And why that's significant is what? It's because Mr. Benjamin Sesko is Slovenian himself, and obviously they care a lot about what's happening with Mr. Sesko. Obviously, it's a small country, but they have some, they've had some. When they have major stars like this, it is a big thing. So, and everybody, is as I saw various kind of Slovenian kind of folks online saying, look, it's a small place, people know each other, it's business. It's hard to keep big news to yourself, essentially, right? Okay, so within that context, we want to add some context, right? Mr. Sahodnik, I think he's the chief editor for the Delo newspaper, wrote, and he wrote, exclusive, Sesko, Newcastle United won the battle for the Slovenian star player of Leipzig, Benjamin Sesko. So NUFC beat Manchester United and Liverpool. Sheesh, he went the extra mile here as well. And guys, this is still pinned to his X account. He doesn't care what Fabrizio has said, what Ornstein has said. This guy has pinned it and he's left it there. And there's been a follow-up from his colleague. My apologies to his colleague. I didn't include his name. I think it was the next day, just to add to it. They say now it's clear Benjamin Sesko is moving to England, and after months of a long transfer saga, the Slovenian football star has made a decision about where he will continue to sporting career. And when you open up the article, he's talking about essentially going to Newcastle United. They started talking about Alan Shearer and comparing him to Alan Shearer, and things of that nature. So these guys in Slovenia, this particular media outlet, they're not backing down on it. In fact, they're doubling down on this. This is where they're at with it, right? And obviously that set off a chain reaction. With the following day from Ornstein, and others. Obviously, not just Ornstein, but there's others. Newcastle United. This is Ornstein on the August the 2nd. So the first one from the Slovenian article was August the 1st. This is now August the 2nd for the following day. Newcastle United submits an offer from RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko. Right? NUFC. This is the first bid. NUFC bid in the last 24 hours, and we know even before the Slovenian newspaper stuff. Just to add to that context, before we heard the outlet from Slovenia, it has been what it is even today. Man United are favourites. Man United are favourites. Man United are favourites. Ornstein, Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano. Goodness gracious, he's outdone himself. Man United are favourites. So it's all within this context. Some of the big, with all these guys combined, Ornstein, Fab. There's another gentleman, I forgot his name, it begins with F. I can't remember if he's German or something. I listened to his video. And he's made a big old speech today as well. All of them are saying, Man United are favourites, Man United are favourites, Man United are favourites. Fair. I even said on the channel on Tuesday, it's probably 60-40 Man United. But this one Slovenian article said, my friend, the race, they're saying the race is already won. So I'll tell you what, if this is the guy, if this is the situation, we'll go back to him. So Ornstein follows up on 2nd of August. Newcastle United submit an offer to RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko. This is the initial offer. NUFC bid made in the last 24 hours worth 75 million euros plus 5 million euros. So just under, so 18 million euros, roughly what's that, 70 million pounds, 68 million pounds, around the asking price. RB Leipzig informed suitors, which is Man United, and Man United pursuit is ongoing. No decision yet from the 21-year-old international striker. That's what Ornstein said. There's no decision. Man United is still going for it. The Slovenian newspaper saying it's done. So okay, just whatever. That's not whatever. Just like it is what it is. On that same day, the following day, the 3rd of August, we've obviously had insufficient Newcastle offer, which is a very interesting wording. I think it was quoted by Ornstein and the rest. Usually it says rejected, right? Insufficient Newcastle offer for Benjamin Sesko. Okay, that says rejected by RB Leipzig. So I don't know if that's the opinion or whatnot, but it did say insufficient. So what does that mean? We've had the RB Leipzig guys, we had the Slovenian newspaper saying it's signed. And we've had the biggest media outlets. So this is the story so far, saying offer was submitted by Newcastle. Following day, it's been rejected or is insufficient. Man United are still in the race, and essentially, let's see what happens. This is where it's at. At this point, Man United have not bid. So there's an incredible, overwhelming narrative at this point in time that Man United, and you can understand it, big club, big brand, big pool. Who's telling who what at this stage is what I'm thinking. And I'm going to go to the chat in a minute, but in my opinion, if I'm looking at, Ornstein, if I'm looking at Fabrizio Romano, for me, it's very clear that it's not Newcastle leaking this information to them, right? Because why would Newcastle leak the information saying Man United are favourites, That'll be insane, right? So it's definitely someone from Man United's camp. And I don't think it's anyone from RB Leipzig's camp at this point, even though RB Leipzig, to get it to this point, they've always wanted Man United, they've always wanted a number of bidders. So they've got Man United and they've got Newcastle. Obviously, if you've got 2 bidders or 3 bidders or anything more than 1 bidder, you can drive up the price. So RB Leipzig have played an absolute blinder here, right? Sesko's, they're getting the price that they've always wanted from Mr. Sesko, and they're going to get it one way or the other. And so far to this point, I didn't include those earlier articles before the 1st of August. RB Leipzig had been leaking information to Ornstein and the others saying Man United and Newcastle, Man United and Newcastle, even though, and we've seen from the previous shows, Man United delegation went down there, they've been saying what their favourites, they've been saying they want to sell Rasmus Højlund. Leipzig have countered that and said we don't want Rasmus Højlund. Both Newcastle and Man United are there. There isn't one favourite or the other. Both are still there. Both are still on the table. We're looking at both proposals at this moment in time. That's been RB Leipzig's stance. Obviously, Man United have been saying we're favourites. Sesko wants to play for us. He just needs to let us know. Before we bid, he just needs to let us know, and we'll bid. Right? The Slovenia. So I think Man United have been talking to Ornstein and the other. That's been their narrative. The Slovenian newspaper, tiny drop in the ocean Slovenian newspaper, have been saying, my only guess who's leaked them that information, it has to be someone from Slovenia. It has to be someone from Mr. Benjamin Sesko's camp, because I don't think the Stello newspaper has any connections. Again, my assumption to RB Leipzig, to Newcastle, or to Man United. It has to be someone from Benjamin Sesko's camp. And that doesn't mean it's going to be guaranteed, but that has been their information. That's what they're recording to this point. So that's the narrative. That's where we're at the moment. So let me know what you guys think so far. I'll give it 2 minutes on the chat before I carry on with the story, but I want you guys to keep it in mind. Obviously, this is now up to the 3rd of August, leading us to, I'm going to then follow up on to what's happening, to what happened yesterday and what's following up today. So that's where we're at. So, dude, as my pop says, he's going to Man United. We need to look elsewhere. Okay, so you're convinced. SSB said Isak is leaving. You think he's leaving even if we don't get Sesko? Let me know, SSB. God bless you both guys as well. Welcome to the channel. Great to have you both on here. SSB says you guys need a replacement ASAP and send over Isak to leave Liverpool ASAP. No. No one's going to send him anywhere. You've got to pay 150 million pounds. All these are, you got to send him over ASAP. My friend, that's not how business is set. 150 million pounds and we move. By the way, folks, speaking of 150 million, we've got 122 viewers in the chat. I don't know how many likes we've got. I don't know if subscribers we've got. How many likes we've got. But for those that are new to the channel, you're absolutely welcome. And we've got rival channel rival fans already in the channel. God bless you. Welcome to the show. We have a fantastic like to ratio on the channel, and we want to be able to continue that. Let's see if we can break 100 likes tonight. Let's see if we can get more folks to subscribe to the channel as well. All right, so Andy says, should target players like Colin Mawani, Walter Mees, Sean Larson, players that can develop but are good. Are they good? Some of them are good. I think they have different flaws. I think Colin Mawani is probably the most suited to us, but his wages are absolutely sky high, Andy. Dude, as my pop says, I really want to know why he would rather go to Man United. It's unreal. It's a huge club. It's a huge brand with a huge history. Even though their team has struggled, they still are. Even in their worst days, they've still won trophies. I can see it from that perspective. And we have Toons Man 1234 says fully. God bless you, by the way, and welcome to the channel. Full is absolutely draining. We are the laughing stock of the Premier League. Doesn't matter what we seem to find. One of the cartels seems to come in for who we ever go for. How many have coin? I'm not worried about being the laughing stock of the league. People always laugh at the people who try and who dare. And our club is absolutely daring. We could have got Evan Kusan. We could have been going for players that nobody else was going for, but we chose to fight with the big boys. And I don't mind that. I'm all for that. That's kind of my attitude to it. Ahmed Hussein says Man United are a big club than Newcastle. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. I don't know if you're answering the earlier question, but I hear that still. Dude, as my pop said, if he was coming to Newcastle, he would have said yes already. Well, but the Slovenian media outlets think that he has said yes already. That's the whole thing about it. Robert, good to see you. God bless you, Phil. You really need to read the Athletic article about how we ended up with Gyökeres to understand what you are dealing with in Sesko. His agent in Leipzig highly recommend pivoting for someone else. No, I've heard about that, and I will have a read of it, Robojog. It's too we've gone too far down the line at this stage. We just need a yes or a no, and we've set the deadline, so we'll see where we go from here. Let me see what you guys are saying so far. Bobby Fairview says, I'll give it another 2 minutes and I'll read. No, 1 minute and we'll read it. Bobby Fairview says Chelsea is as good as at it in PR, not selling. The fee, the journal's report for Felix included 20 million of unachievable add-ons. Katie Hidro sold at book value, good for PSR, but also a negative return on investment. Yeah, some you lose, some you win, isn't it? TK says, the brother don't listen to no Slovenian thing. Okay, I hear that. It's context, though. It's important to read what other articles are saying. Isaac Saboa says, by the way, Sesko should have considered Newcastle for smooth development. Man United likely to cut his career short, just like many others. In terms of developing careers, Newcastle, in terms of developing players, at this moment in time, since Eddie Howe, Newcastle are head and shoulders above Man United. 100%. 100%. You can say bigger club, fine, but in terms of developing players, Newcastle United are head and shoulders above Man United. BT, good to see you. God bless you. Says Sesko will have more opportunities playing for Newcastle, especially in their attacking play. I think we're the ideal team for them. We are the ideal team for them. All right, so let's continue with the story. We've got 122 folks in the chat. Excuse me, on the channel. Please do continue to like, share, and subscribe. Let's see if we can keep our impeccable ratio going. So, as I've mentioned, we've got the narratives booming through the big tier one journals, your Ornsteins, your Fabs, and all the rest of them saying Man United are favourites. Newcastle are still in the race, though. RB Leipzig are trying to counter some of the narratives, i.e., both clubs are being considered, both proposals are being considered. They're both in there. Obviously, RB Leipzig need both bidders in there to ensure they get the best price possible. And we've got this tiny media outlet in Slovenia, Mr. Benjamin Sesko's hometown, saying, he's chosen Newcastle. And they've pinned it on their thing. So pinned it on their X account. Let's see. So we've got now up to, and then Newcastle have also offered since that Slovenian article on August the 1st, Newcastle made an offer on August the 2nd, and on August the 3rd that has been rejected as insufficient, which again I said I think is interesting choice of words there. So what's happening now in August the 4th? Craig Hope, one of our northern correspondents, reports, as reported below, Newcastle are tonight negotiating the term structure of their original £70 million. Obviously, that happened on August the 2nd, which is £80 million euro offer. They are pushing hard to agree RB at Leipzig after being told today that Benjamin Sesko wants to join them. Let me read that part again. They are pushing hard to agree with RB Leipzig after being told today that Benjamin Sesko wants to join them. Now, Craig Hope isn't as big as Ornstein and Fab, but he is I would still consider him a tier one journalist. And since that Slovenian newspaper on August the 1st were the first ones to say any of this, that Benjamin Sesko has agreed to join Newcastle, the overall narrative for that from August the 1st to now August the 4th, where we're getting to, has been Benjamin Sesko wants to join Man United. So now from the Slovenian article to now Mr. Craig Hope says he wants to join Newcastle. So Newcastle have come back in with a better offer, and that's now further confirmed now by one of the biggest tier one journalists, Mr. David Ornstein. 1 hour later says, exclusive. It's not an exclusive, it's Craig Hope's article, but fair enough. And he gave no credit to Craig Hope, which is annoying. Exclusive says Newcastle United make an improved bid to RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko. New offer worth at least 80 million euros, so about 70 million pounds at starting, after positive talks between clubs and the 22-year-old striker. Nothing agreed, but RB Leipzig currently favour NUFC. No Man United proposal yet. Now, what's interesting about Mr. Ornstein's version of events is that he agrees with Mr. Hope that an improved offer has come in, but rather than saying Mr. Sesko wants to join Newcastle, he says there's been positive talks between the clubs and the 22-year-old striker. So what does positive mean, right? He's made it a little more ambiguous. Slovenian newspaper says he wants to join. Craig Hope says he wants to join. Mr. Ornstein, who throughout this time, together with Fab and and it could still be right. It could still be right, and we'll see what the outcome is. But their overwhelming narrative, I think, and we've seen it. Man United are favourites. So the way I read it is like Mr. Ornstein can't even bring himself to say that Sir Sesko wants to join Newcastle. He puts it down as after positive talks between the clubs and the 22-year-old striker. So obviously, that's how it was left yesterday, right? So Newcastle seemed to be ahead of the race, seemed to be pushing. The striker, Mr. Sesko, seems to be favouring Newcastle. Positive talks according to Ornstein. He wants to join Newcastle according to he wants to join Newcastle according to Mr. Craig Hope, and obviously and the smaller other articles. So that's what the overwhelming article is. And we've got James Coe here. He's saying 4 minutes behind, you deluded, believe in a Slovenian newspaper. Well, let me know what for you, how do you choose which articles to believe or not? Essentially, is it the size? Is it their hit ratio? Fab and Ornstein obviously have really remarkable hit ratios, but at this moment in time, up to this point, this has been going on longer than the 4 or 5 days that I'm marking out. 1st of August to the 5th of August. It's been going on for weeks. They've been saying Man United, Man United, Man United, Man United. Small article in Slovenia says Newcastle. 3 days later, Craig Hope, tier 1 journalist, not as big as the other, said he wants to join Newcastle. So is there narrative? There is narrative. That's essentially, it's a smaller narrative, but those are controlled narrative in terms of the bigger YouTubers have been pushing that this is the case. We'll see what happens, right? We're just marking the journey and what's happening. And partly why it's important to look at this. We've had, for instance, in the Isak's case, Fabrizio Romano doing more than just reporting, but now even using his opinion to influence the sale of Isak. Saying, for instance, people are watching Newcastle, if they don't sell, and I'm paraphrasing, if they don't sell Isak, there's going to and players who would have considered coming to Newcastle to develop might see they're not been able to go or so to develop, and players might not want to join Newcastle. Fabrizio Romano, are you going to be a journalist? Are you going to be objective, or are you going to be pushing the agendas of your paymasters? And it's important to be able to see this. So it's important to be able to understand this, and you got to know how the game's being played. Otherwise, what's going to happen? So let's see. Let us see. Smokey says, I'm a subscriber. Thank you, Smokey. Good to see you from before. God bless you. Welcome to the channel. Smokey says, love your channel. I appreciate you. I really, really appreciate that, Smokey. I really, really appreciate that encouragement from the folks as well. So thank you for that. Unaya says, give me a hungry whistle, at RCB and an ATM to replace Willock and shut the doors. Smokey says, guys, hit them likes up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for that. Yes, folks, please do hit the likes. Someone let me know how many likes we have so far. Can we break 100 likes today? That would be absolutely phenomenal. Let me see if what is anybody saying at the moment. Nenkunsi, I'm going to mispronounce your name. I'm so sorry, but says this is to me is playing two suit against each other. If for IB Leipzig, absolutely. to create a bidding war for both players and club benefit? Absolutely. And I think Sheshko is also going to is also helping his club doing that. Because if Sheshko says weeks ago, I want to go to Newcastle, I want to go, and he just outrightly claims it, there's no more bidding war. There's just whatever price the selling club wants to pay, essentially, and whether RB Leipzig accept it. Remember, Sheshko rejected a move to Arsenal last year to stay at RB Leipzig. He's rejected moves for bigger clubs before, and he has a real fondness for RB Leipzig. So he's helping his club as well. He wants them to get the best return. That's my hunch. I think he wants them to get the best return as well. James Cole says Ben Jacobs become a tier 2 pushing for 1. Yeah, well, he's improved in a lot of people's eyes. I've noticed that. Okay, let me see what people are saying. Smokey says, I missed. Nkusi says every Twitter journal stick inclusive at the front of their tweets with a alarm emoji. They do. Come on, guys. Smokey says, hit them likes for this guy. He's awesome, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for that, sir. Really, really appreciate that. What else are you guys saying about what we're talking about? He would be. We've got James Coe says won't be a bidding war with the value when the valuation has been met and Sesko chooses a team. Other clubs will move on his decision. Won't be a bidding war when valuation has been met and Sheshko chooses. There will always be a bidding war. If there's an opportunity to make more money, there's no. RB Leipzig have no interest. If so long as there's a bidding war and clubs are willing to pay higher, it is counterproductive for RB Leipzig to all of a sudden say, guys, stop bidding. We don't want any more money. We know that Sheshko wants this club. Let's make the deal happen. So I'll see. That's my kind of take on it. Okay, so I'm gonna move forward. Geordie Toon tells me there's been 53 likes. Absolutely phenomenal, guys. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for responses. Let's keep those likes up and see if we can break 100. Right, so let me get a drink of water. So we got up to yesterday. Newcastle have made their bid. It has been rejected. They've made a bid again with an improved bid after Mr. Pope reports Sheshko wants to join Newcastle. Ornstein says there's been positive talks between Newcastle and RB Leipzig, but Man United have not given a proposal just yet. Now we have... Okay, so let me just see. Was that yesterday as well? Yes, that was yesterday as well. Sasha Tavoleri. Some of you guys are aware of him as well. Huge account. I think he's Belgian. I'm not sure. I think he's Belgian. Sasha Tavoleri has actually been quoting the Slovenian article to this time as well, but he's also been going. He's one of the bigger transfer journals as well. I don't know what people consider him, tier 1, tier 2. You guys let me know. Would you consider Sasha tier 1? I would say he is tier 1 in terms of how he handles himself and what he does. That's just my opinion, but I'd love to hear what you're saying. But Sasha says yesterday as well, he says, this is late night yesterday, exclusive. RB Leipzig now excuse me. RB Leipzig now expected to accept. That's what got me confused. Now expected to accept 90 million euros deal for Sheshko. 90 million euros from Sheshko. From who, Sasha? Please tell us. Newcastle expected to reach full agreement with RB Leipzig soon. Now waiting for final approval for RB Leipzig's final approval. Then he goes on to say with a tick mark, I don't know why he keeps on putting red and white next to our name. Maybe Man United, Newcastle, I don't know. as revealed on the 2nd of August. So he's gone back to the 2nd of August. When he's talking about the 2nd of August, he's talking about the article he quoted from the Delo newspaper in Slovenia. So somebody was laughing at the Slovenian article earlier, but this big account was quoting that article and has now repeated that same story. As revealed on the 2nd of August at midnight, Benjamin Sesko's decision is to join the Magpies. So now we've had this small Slovenian outlet go to from them saying he wants to join the Magpies to Mr. Craig Hope a little bit higher. He wants to join Newcastle United. And I know that Mr. Craig Hope has faltered a little bit recently as well. God bless him. A lot of people have. So now Mr. Sasha Tavolieri, who, in his fairness, Tavolieri, he's been quite bullish on Newcastle in this story for a while, even before the Delo newspaper. He's saying that Leipzig are likely to accept this offer, and Mr. Sesko wants to join Newcastle United. He's gone all in on it. He's gone all in on it. But this still is even with his big account, this still is a very small story, still a very small narrative in comparison to Fabrizio Romano, Mr. Ornstein, Mr. Ben Jacobs, and others. So my question to you guys is, who is Sasha Tavolieri talking to? Is he talking to the Slovenian guys? I think he might be, probably. I think that must be the case. He must be talking to the Slovenian guys. Or somebody, is he talking to someone in Benjamin Sesko's? Maybe he called the media outlet in Slovenia and said, guys, where are you guys getting this stuff from? I need, like, if I want to, especially if you want to confront with two sources. Has he gone to the Slovenian guys, someone in Benjamin Sesko's camp? And has he got a connection in RB Leipzig, for instance, to say, yes, they're likely to be accepting the bid as well. So that is the stories yesterday. And again, the overwhelming narrative still, despite these slightly smaller articles getting bigger, but slightly smaller media outlets saying he wants to go to Newcastle, the overwhelming narrative and bigger story is that he wants to join Newcastle. I think, like I've said, those stories are coming from Man United. It doesn't mean they're untrue. It doesn't mean that they don't believe them to be true, or that's not what he's telling them, or we don't know what he's telling them. Because if we go into today, we've got stories breaking, and this is around 4 or 5 o'clock today, maybe earlier, breaking from Ben Jacobs, even from Craig Hope. Craig Hope actually pushed it first, I think. I'll start with Ben Jacobs from left to right. Breaking: Manchester United have made a formal offer for Benjamin Sesko, so they would have had encouragement, worth 85 million euros, as Bild called. So Bild first said it. Bild is a German newspaper outlet. 75 million. So if I was Ben Jacobs, I would have called Bild, and I would have called someone from Man United. So maybe that's where he's getting two sources from. 75 million fixed with 10 million in add-ons. That's 5 million easily achievable. So there's another 5 million that's not achievable. So overall, it's about 80 million, right? Newcastle's offer is slightly higher with a fixed fee of 80 million, so 5 million higher. But Man United believe Newcastle wants to join, not Newcastle, that Sesko wants to join them. There is some powerful forces at work. Who controls the airwaves. And again, I'm not saying Mr. Jacobs is lying, Man United is lying, Newcastle's telling the truth, they're the angels. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just giving our observations of what's happening and why there's so much confusion, even among people that are reading this. So Man United have made a formal offer. It's slightly lower. Their fixed fee is €5 million lower than ours. It's about 10 million in add-ons, and five of those are slightly achievable, whatever that means. I'm assuming the add-ons, the 5 million add-ons, like Ballon d'Or stuff. Newcastle's one is just straight up 80 million euros, about 70 million pounds, and some add-ons on top of that. I think 10 million add-ons because people then quoted 90 million. Craig Hope confirms the story. I think, in fact, he said it first. Exclusive: Newcastle tonight pushing hard to agree with RB Leipzig Sesko after encouragement today. He wants to join. Or was that yesterday? It's not known what his camp have communicated to Man United and all the outcomes possible, but Newcastle moving quickly. Okay, so agreed deal with Newcastle. So that must be the day before's article. My apologies, right? So focusing on Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano, and everybody else, they're all saying look, Man United have made an offer. They have made an offer. They made a formal offer, slightly lower than Newcastle. But what do you guys think of that? If you're competing, if you're bidding, right? Why would you not just match the offer? Are you that confident? Are you that confident that the player will not only choose you, but will push RB Leipzig to lower the fee for you? Because I believe me, because I've heard some of the payment structures, the rumored payment structures from Newcastle. Newcastle are willing to pay 50 million up front. That is ginormous. I don't know what Man United are willing to pay, but Newcastle are willing to pay big fees up front. And we've heard the stories that Man United have been pushing Rasmus Højlund to RB Leipzig, even though they've tried to make it that RB Leipzig are begging them for Rasmus Højlund. RB Leipzig quickly shut down those stories, by the way, and even Rasmus wasn't aware that Man United were offering him out to RB Leipzig. What does this mean? Why would you? Someone in the chat, let me know. Why? Maybe if you're a Man United fan, or if you're willing, someone tell me, wherever you are, why would Man United? I see Register Kev here. Why would Man United? Why would you not just match the bid? Make it easy for RB Leipzig, because then they can say, okay, we've got matched bids. Player wants to go here. We can make it happen. But you've given a lower offer. Are you that confident that Sesko can move the tide so much that Leipzig have to take a lower offer? I just think that's a risk. I honestly think that's a risk in my bid. Because Leipzig might just decide he can stay. He can stay. If we're not going to get the fee that we want, even though he wants to go to you guys, he can stay. I'm not convinced that Sesko is like overwhelmingly wants to go to either club. I think he doesn't mind being at Leipzig. Leipzig do need the money though. They finished outside the Champions League, the European spots. They have to sell, or they're in a position where they really need to sell. They've been trying to sell Simmons to Chelsea. That has paused for whatever reason. And Sesko gives them an opportunity to get them the highest bid possible. So Leipzig need to sell. If I'm Leipzig, I want this bidding war to continue. But if one of the bidders is offering me less money, and I'm going to assume that the payment structure and it's less achievable or odds compared to what Newcastle are offering, that it makes it very difficult for Leipzig to accept, even if the player wants to go. So I'm just curious, is it what was going through the Man United's thought process in giving a lower fee? If I'm selling a house for 300k and I've got a bidder who comes in to say I'll pay 250, and the next guy comes in, rushes in and stamps his next bid and says I'll give you 220 now. Give me the house. I'm like, no, I'm gonna take the guy who's offering me 30k more. So I just, I'm curious about that. It's coming across as, I get the impression it's arrogant. Maybe you are that confident. Maybe it is that you're that confident Shishko wants to come to you, that you're even willing to give a lower bid because you don't have to pay as much money. Or are you even willing to compete? Are you giving a lower bid because you're anticipating that you're not going to get the player? You know, I don't know. I don't know. I've put the possibilities out there. I have put the possibilities out there. So, folks, I've brought the story up to the current day. I'm gonna. Both clubs have now. Newcastle made their second bid. Man United have put their first bid. It's lower than Newcastle's. The fee and the overall structure at the moment, I get the sense that it's higher from Newcastle's from is from Newcastle. The overall narrative is that Sesko wants to join Newcastle, but there's other media outlets from Slovenia, from Craig Hope earlier to now Sasha Tavaleri, who's slightly got a lot more numbers. That is to Man United. So, but then Man United have come with a lower bid. So, guys, that brings us closer to today. You know, that's where we're at today. I'm gonna just, before I go into the comments, I just want to see, has there been any updates? I haven't seen anything in the chat to say that there has been any updates. So before I get to the chat, let me know what you guys think. Have I broken that story down, properly? How do you see it? What's the context? What's the nuance? What's been going on? I can't see anything yet. One from Football Transfer, who's a fairly reliable account with 148k. He's reporting that Benjamin Sesko is very likely to join Man United if they reach an agreement with RB Leipzig. I think they made it difficult for themselves with a low fee. With a lower fee, they made it difficult for themselves. But okay, the striker is believed to prefer Man United over other options. So, okay, that's there is a general trend in that direction. But so far, I haven't seen anything definitive in terms of agreement reached between clubs or agreement reached. There was, obviously, we've seen other sources, actually from the tier one sources, saying that Sheshko has agreed terms with both clubs. Has said yes to both clubs, which is phenomenal. If that's the case, by the way, if Sheshko has said yes to both clubs, he's giving Leipzig the control, as he has done. The consistent story, I believe, so far, in the midst of everything, whether he prefers Newcastle, whether he prefers Man United, nobody really knows. I know the overwhelming narrative is that he prefers Man United, and that could still be the case, but we just don't know. But what's been consistent is RB Leipzig's control over this whole situation, that they've been able to get more bidders, and the player has not come out into the media, unlike some strikers like Newcastle, have not come out to the media, are not allowed the agents to come out to the media to say he favors this club or he favors that club, not putting their club at any one disadvantage. So he's giving Leipzig full control over this, which tells me, even if he has a preference from one club to the other, that preference is not so strong that he would push Leipzig to one club or the other. The club he prefers above Man United and above Newcastle so far, and I show more loyalty to, in my opinion, is RB Leipzig. He's given it to RB Leipzig. So if the stories are true, because I think Benjamin Let me just make sure I've seen that. I think Ben Jacobs has said it, and others have said it, that Mr. Sheshko has agreed with both clubs. Let me just make sure I got that right. Make sure I got that right. Sheshko agrees with both clubs. Daily Express, Sky Sports News. Let me see that he's agreed with both clubs. So this is from. Let me come out of this for a minute. I'm sure Ben Jacobs has said it, and someone do correct me. But this is from Give Me Sport. Fabrizio Romano is on there. But they say, sources, Man United and Newcastle reach agreement on personal terms of Sheshko, right? So that's not unusual for players to reach multiple personal agreements. But when you do that, that means when your club is negotiating a deal, you don't give them leverage. You don't give either buying club leverage. So neither Newcastle nor Man United have leverage when they're negotiating with Leipzig. Leipzig have full control over the fee. And even in this Give Me Sport article, which was when did they say this? 9 hours ago. So this is today. Manchester United, make sure you guys can see that. You can see that. Manchester United and Newcastle have agreed personal terms with Benjamin Sesko, and Newcastle have agreed Benjamin Sesko tabling offer after tabling offer to Leipzig, right? But they now have seen their biggest rivals for the signature make a formal move for him too, leaving the decision firmly in the hands of the player. Is it in the hands of the player? I feel like it's in the hands of Leipzig. Man United have been reluctant to table a formal bid for the Leipzig star until they felt that they had a commitment that he would prefer to join them over Newcastle. And sources understand that now believe that he has picked a move to Old Trafford. Okay, so that should make negotiations easy. And why have Newcastle, as of right now, 11:17 p.m., not left the table? Manchester United have tabled an offer of 75 million euros plus 10 million, 65 million pounds plus 8.7, lower than Newcastle's. It just doesn't make sense. On Tuesday morning, following a talk to the striker overnight, and they believe that offer matches Leipzig's quoted fixed fee. So they believe that it matches Leipzig's fixed fee, even though Newcastle have given over the fee. GMS understands that 5 million, 4.3 euros of the add-ons are easily achievable. That has left Man United to consider their offer to be close to Newcastle's overall package, despite actual fee, the fee that we paid up front, and the fee that the fixed fee where it starts from, is lower. So why would you do that? Manchester United believe that player wants to join the club. Is that the reason? So Man United believe they can leverage the fact that Sesko wants to join them to cause Leipzig to lower the fee. But if he's agreed personal terms of both Newcastle and Man United, I don't see the leverage. Newcastle had been attempting to agree a deal with the Leipzig, and they are hopeful Man United would back off after Monday's news, after the second, but that hasn't happened. So now both clubs are engaged in talks with Leipzig and the player, with an agreement believed to be close for both clubs. It has always been Newcastle's long-standing fear, however, that if both clubs are made a like-for-like offer, then Sesko will pick Man United. But Man United have not made a like-for-like offer. While both clubs are closing in an agreement with Leipzig, GMS also understand that both Manchester and Newcastle have finalised an agreement on personal terms of Sesko. The player has agreed financial terms and a long-term contract with both clubs. That's crazy. And the final decision will rest where he wants to go the most. I think it rests with Leipzig. Yeah, it is. Ben Jacobs said it. Ben Jacobs, Tier 1, says, understand Benjamin Sesko has now agreed financial terms with both Manchester United and Newcastle. So therefore, neither club has leverage of Leipzig. Leipzig can say you both have a financial package agreed with him. He's both shown you that he's willing to go. And he's given Leipzig the control. In my view, Leipzig have the control as to where he goes to next. I'm going to assume they're going to say yes to the club that has offered the most money. Both clubs confident on reaching agreement with Leipzig in the coming hours, unless Sesko says he really pushes for it, which up to this time, Sesko has not made any outstanding, even his agent, outstanding calls to say, unlike, like I said, Isak, he's training, he's doing his thing. So Jacob says Manchester United believe Sesko wants to join them. And so like I said, folks, my belief is that the control is in Leipzig's hands. If it is the case that Sesko has agreed personal terms with both clubs, he's effectively saying, I don't know what's in his mind, I don't know what's in his heart. I can only assess what we can see. When he's agreeing personal terms with both clubs, he's basically saying to his parent club, Leipzig, you choose. Right? If you compare to Isak saying, I don't want to go to Saudi Arabia, I don't want to go to this or that club, as we know so far. I want to go to Liverpool. Right? So he's made it abundantly clear. Sesko's agreeing terms with both clubs. So when you agree terms with both clubs, you're saying to Leipzig, you decide. You decide where I should go. That's my take. That's my take on it. So we're going to find out. So before we go into Isak, again, tons and tons and tons of comments, guys. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. We've got 149 people watching the show. That's breathtaking. That is absolutely breathtaking. Welcome to the show, guys. Whether you're new or you're old, God bless you. It's great to have you on the channel. As always, please do hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. We want to be able to break 100 likes whilst we're live. We've got 40 minutes before we finish the show. So if we can break if we can break 100 likes, that would be whilst we're live, that would be absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so let me see what you guys are saying about all of this. I'm gonna in terms of the narrative, in terms of what we've been talking about, let me drink my water first. Sanesi says, I think it is very likely Sesko prefers Man U over us. The name carries weight, it does. He could very well consider himself to be the one to fix them, and his fee structure would be greater than what he can do. His fee structure would be greater than what he can do. So you think he's overpriced essentially? That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting take, and it's been an overwhelming take so far. I just think he's given the control to Leipzig. That's my overall thing. Like I said, I'm not in his heart. I'm not in his mind. I've said before, I think he's 60-40 to Man United, but what he's written on paper, according to Ben Jacobs, according to GMS, according to various sources, he's given personal agreement to both clubs. He's given a package. He doesn't mind what he's agreed a personal payment with both clubs. When you do that, you've basically said he's towing the line for Leipzig. Leipzig have always said, no matter what Newcastle are saying, no matter what Man United are saying, both clubs are still in the game. And obviously it's in their interest to say there's two clubs in the game because they want to be able to get as much money as possible. As we stand today, unless things have changed whilst I'm on the show, Newcastle provided the bigger package. Right? Newcastle have given the bigger overall package. We've matched the personal terms, and we've given the bigger fee, and we're willing to give the bigger fee. Man United, for whatever reason, don't know what the reason is, have given a lower even though slightly lower overall package. I don't know why they did that. If you match the bid that Newcastle have given, then you make the decision fairly easy if you assume that he wants to join you. But you make it hard for Leipzig, who would prefer the higher bid because they're going to get more money. So that's where we stand at the moment. So I just don't know. Unless Man United are relying on Sesko to push Leipzig to agree the lower fee with so he can join Man United, which is inconsistent with what they've been consistently doing since the whole story of Man United and Newcastle and Sesko has been going on. Sesko has been loyal to one club so far, and that has been Leipzig. So let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. 138 viewing the show, absolutely phenomenal. Newcastle need to bid again. So sorry, Belly81 says Newcastle need to bid again and add an extra 50 million on and make the Man U bid 20 million less than Newcastle's bid. Yeah, that could work. Absolutely. James Coe says you saw Fab tweet saying United men are now very confident, right? I have, James Coe, and I've seen your chats, but this is what I'm talking about. Narratives. If I ask you, James, who do you think leaked that information to Fabrizio Romano? Was it Newcastle? It would have been Newcastle. It serves no benefit to Newcastle. Would it be Leipzig? I don't think it would be Leipzig because Leipzig want two bidders. They've been very consistent in saying that both clubs have a chance to be able to get Sesko. So, in my view, Fabrizio is getting his information from Man United. It doesn't mean it's wrong, it doesn't mean it's right, but there's an interest there to put it out there to say, Man United is in Man United's interest to say Sesko is interested in us. They're not going to say, "Oh, Newcastle, yeah, he definitely wants Newcastle." They're not going to say that. He definitely wants. That's what he's saying. But if we then see what sources are saying, Mr. Sesko has agreed a financial package with both clubs. He's given, in my mind, he's given control to Leipzig, and Leipzig are going to go where the money is. And at the moment, in terms of fee, overall fee, it's of Newcastle. Again, unless something changes. Onaya says this reminds me of how long Man United took to sign Mbeumo. They paid up only when we came in for Wissa. Yeah, except for now they actually have two rival bidders for the same player. So how are they going to respond? Let us see. Queen of Hearts says, evening folks, this transfer window is enough to give you a meltdown. It is, absolutely. I'm going to give the chats 3 minutes before we get onto the Isak stuff. Mark Douglas is a report and everything else. I've really found it interesting talking to you guys about this. Strasbourg, Steve, God bless you, Strasbourg. Steve, good to see you. Your channel growth is outstanding, bro. I'm so glad you're doing well. You deserve it. You know what, Steve? That means so very much, meaning coming from you, sir. Thank you so much for that, Steve. And it is down to folks like you. And guys, do like, share, and subscribe. If you can, sub onto Steve's channel as well. He's an incredible person on and off the channel. He's one of the first few guys that gave me my shot coming onto their show and everything else. He's absolutely phenomenal. And he's got his knowledge in football. And I'm going to get him back on our show soon. His knowledge of football is absolutely phenomenal. He watches literally every league. And he's absolutely phenomenal. Martin Bland says, Man U fans are scuppering themselves over on X. Ratcliffe's trending, the 1958 trending. Heap it up, boys. Let's see. Good to see you, Cynical Jim. Welcome to the stream. 21st Century Football says, isn't the Newcastle deadline tonight? It is. It is tonight. We're going to hear by tomorrow morning what's going on. Absolutely. Either later tonight or by tomorrow morning. Dave Eddy says, Philip, since Fergie left Man United, every top forward player they signed has been a disaster. I'm hoping Sheshko can come to his senses. I agree with you. So I'm lost for words because I agree with you, Davey, so much. We know what the potential could be should he join Newcastle, um, because of what Eddie can do with the boy. So, with no disrespect to Man United or to any other club, we've just been incredible at developing players. So yeah, I agree with Davey. Kevin Flomo says, after watching these transfer saga, I can't believe how delusional Newcastle fans are. Okay, delusion is good for supporting your team, but it will get you exploited in the knife fight of the transfer window. Are you okay? I see what you're saying, but well, I don't know if what you're saying, Kevin. Like, clarify. Are you saying delusional over Sesko? Delusional over, like? Let me know what you mean. Like, I'd love to know what you mean by that, because if anything, in this show, we're trying to break down narratives. We're trying to understand, when people are releasing out news and like who's it benefiting, what's the, who's likely to have released it, who's it benefiting, what's the timing of it, so we can clarify ourselves or try our best to clarify what's going on. So for me, there's certainly, for me, I can only speak for myself. I'm trying not to be delusioned. I'm trying to see what's actually going on. Kim Cam says, hold on, let me go back a minute. I think I missed something. James Coe says, bro, this guy hasn't done his homework. Let me know who you're referring to, James. Kim Cam says it's been played very cleverly by the Germans. Good point, Philip. Honestly, to be able to hold two bidders to this point, no matter who wins this race, the overall winner is RB Leipzig, right? We lost Eketia to Liverpool, right? How did we lose Ekiteke? Excuse me, not Eketia, Ekiteke to Liverpool. What did Liverpool do? Did Liverpool come in with a lower bid and the same wages as Newcastle gave? No, they came with a higher bid and a transfer fee and with higher wages, and they blew Newcastle out the water. That's how you win the transfer, and they did it like that. Man United matched the wages and gave a lower fee. Why? If the overall narrative, if Fab is saying it, Ben is saying it, all these guys are saying it, and it might still be the case, Sesko wants to go to Man United. Why not just at least match the fee, make it easy for Leipzig? But you haven't done that. And if the reports are to be true, that Mr. Sesko has agreed personal terms with both Newcastle and with Man United, for me, that signals that he has given control over his future and he trusts it to Leipzig. And Leipzig are going to, as a club should, in this situation, try extract the most money as possible, which is what they've been doing this whole time, having two bidders. So let's see. Matt Lou says, so that's my take on it. Matt Lou says, I think we are overpaying for potential, possibly, but at the same time, while we're not overpaying, and even if Man United do win the race, they wouldn't be overpaying. From my take, it's because there's two bidders. The value of the player changes for me, in my opinion, when there's more than one bidder. In my opinion, Mighty D, bro, I know you want Sesko to join Newcastle, but it's over. He is going to Manchester United. I do want Sesko to join Newcastle United, but let me know, Mighty D, why do you think it's over? Let me know why you think it's over. Give me sport is so dead. Yet the same guy that James goes, the same guy that you like in Fabrizio Romano, he writes for them as well. He writes for Give Me Sport, and he does news articles on there together with Ben Jacobs. So the same tier one journalists, the same Give Me Sport that you're laughing at, are where the tier one journalists that you're relying for your information comes from. So I don't know. You have to pick your poison, I think. Barely, give it another 2 minutes, and we'll move on to Isak. I got Sesko and Isak. Isak. Belly 81 says, give it up. He's going to Man United and going to flop like Hoyland. Matlu says, I meant we cannot compete with them. Oh, okay. Kim Cam's talking to Matlu. Warbajog says, James Coe and Mighty D. Okay. Get you a crash out I'm looking for. Okay, yeah. You're not gonna get the crash out. I don't know if you guys are new to the channel, James, guys, but like, it's we don't really do that kind of stuff. If that's what you're looking for. Mighty D, Bro Jackson is available. Forget Sheshko. It's over. You're so keen for me to like agree with you. Like, I'm just giving you the story. Let me know what you think about like the narratives. What's your take on it? Apart from let me know what your take is on it. One more minute and we'll get on to the Isak story. David Veitch, good to. Oh, sorry, just before David, Cynical Jim says Jacobs and Romano on the payroll. We've talked about this, and I was thinking about, I don't know how to be able to find out about who's on the pay to who, but it's becoming very. The impression that a lot of us fans, including myself, are getting is that there's a lot of tier one journalists who are benefiting from this news and are willing, just how I explained about Ornstein. Sasha Tavalieri, who I don't think has any affiliation to Newcastle United, says he wants to join Newcastle. An hour later, Ornstein reports and says there's been positive talks between the player and between the club. He won't say that he wants to join Newcastle. Like, it's the narrative control is phenomenal. Honestly, you have to be able to see it. Well, okay, you've got to try and see it. Gosh, I thought I was getting close to it, to the bottom. I've missed it. So David Veitch, Sheshko has stated he is happy with both offers. So why would Leipzig accept Man United low? Honestly, offer lots of con artist media profiting from the clicks. I think so too. If people accept that Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Nava, if Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano, Give Me Sport, and others have said, Mr. Ishak, I've got Isak on the brain. Let me just conclude this because I've got my mind in two different places. That Mr. let me just go back. I've missed a couple points here. I'll give a couple more minutes. But if Mr. Fabrizio Romano, Ben Jacobs, and others are considered tier one journalists, which I consider them tier one journalists, agree that Mr. Benjamin Sheshko has given his personal agreement to both Man United and to Newcastle United, right? As David Veitch said, he's effectively given control to Leipzig. The club, the club he prefers, he's loyal to, is Leipzig. He said to Leipzig, you choose. So why, therefore, if you're Man United, why don't you just match the offer that Newcastle are giving? Match the offer, and the story is finished. I don't get it. It can otherwise, at worst, it's arrogance to believe that you can just get a player like that. And why is arrogance? I say, why is arrogance to believe that just by name alone we can force this club to give us a lower fee? Because Liverpool, the current reigning Premier League champions, when they beat us to Ekatike, they gave a higher transfer fee and they gave a higher wages to Ekatike. They didn't match the transfer or give a lower transfer fee or match the personal wage. They just blew us out the water. And because they're Liverpool and because they won the Premier League on top of that. So if they were humble enough to say we still have to pay more, why at Man United? So it just comes across as unusual to me. But let me know. And if I think it is, if it's my good friends from Never a Foul, if it's you guys, and let me know. Great to see you on the channel. I don't know if it's Cass. If it is you, God bless you, sir. Great to have you on, sir. Absolutely phenomenal. I wish I actually invited Cass to the show. Um, I really enjoy his football take, so I would have been really keen to hear his views on this. It's not my. I've missed out there. I think I missed the conversation there. Ethan Ray asks, "Are Man United hoping we pull out?" I think so. I think with the media pressure, with the narratives, Man United are hoping, because even our journalists from our end are saying Newcastle, they're not confident, and the Newcastle make bids. The only people that are confident are the guys in Slovenia. the small, the smaller media outlet. The only guys that are confident media outlet are the guys in Slovenia and Sasha Tavaleri. Our own journalists are saying it's going Man United's way, and then Newcastle go make a bid. So narrative controls the minds of the people. It controls the minds of the people. Are Man United hoping to pull out? I think they are. They don't have the money, and clearly using the medium vehicle to pressure, as you said, Eden, to pull to pressure us to pull out and get better terms, etc. Still have little hope. So do I. So Newcastle, as long as Newcastle hold on, and continue to give better terms in terms of fee, we always have a chance. Never a Foul says, the game is the game, big club pool. You do have big club pool, but you don't. It's the money side of things. I don't know if it's you guys, but it's the money side of things. It's not a big club act to give a smaller overall package. Liverpool didn't do that for Ekatike. They didn't do that for his personal terms either. I just don't understand why Man United did that. Why did you do that? That's all I want to. That's what I'm struggling to understand. Again, at worst, it's the height of arrogance to just say the player will demand and we're going to get a better fee. I just don't believe. Well, I don't know. All right, so continue giving me your takes, guys. You've been phenomenal in the chat. It's been absolute. Guys, let me know how many likes we've got. And hopefully we can break the 100 likes barrier. That'll be absolutely phenomenal. And we will never fast as we get labeled a special club. I think no one's denying that, in terms of your history and everything that you've achieved. I just think in this particular individual deal, I just don't understand why the lower fee has come into play. It makes things a lot more difficult for you if you want to get the player over the line. For me, it doesn't say to Leipzig and it doesn't say to Sesko that you're serious. If we've given a higher fee, you've come in with a lower fee. Leipzig now take that and go to Sesko. Listen, we've got two bids now. Newcastle bid now a second time with a higher fee. Man United have come in now, but they've bidden with a lower fee. If you're Sesko and you're his agent, is that going to convince you that Man United are serious? Is it enough to just say we're Man United? If it wasn't enough for Liverpool in the Ekatike situation, if it's not enough for Liverpool in the Ekatike situation to say we're Liverpool, we're current Premier League champions, and they still pay the higher fee, they still pay the higher wages for Ekatike, then why is it for Man United, who finished 15th, didn't win anything? Why is it still enough for Man United to say we're gonna equal, or we're gonna give? He's agreed. If Sheshko's agreed to personal terms of both clubs, I'm going to assume that they've both given similar terms. So they've equaled the personal terms when they could have given a bigger one, and they've given a lower fee. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. All right, so let's get on to the Sheshko. Sheshko. I've got Sheshko in the brain now. I'm going to be talking a little about him, but I want to talk a little bit more about Mr. Isak. Guys, let me know in the chat how many likes we have. Please do like, share, and subscribe. I've seen a lot of new faces. You're absolutely welcome to the chat. And it's good to see my good friends from Never a Foul on the chat as well. Incredible chat channel. If you guys haven't already subscribed to them, I really encourage you to do so. I encourage you to subscribe also to Kaz's channel. I really enjoy Kaz's football breakdown and his takes as well. And I think you guys will enjoy it too. All right. Speaking of narrative, speaking of everyone's takes and everything else, this article from Mr. Oh, I don't even know if I'm going to have time to read it, but I'm going to break it down. Mark Douglas released an article today. Is it still today or have we gone past midnight? It's still today. Why Newcastle remain hopeful of Sesko and what it means for Isak. Man United appear to be front runners, but the Magpies aren't giving up just yet. And he essentially gives a kind of a similar take as he's given before. We're on 91 likes. Guys, come on, we can break the 100 likes. Essentially saying that and he's gone a bit more firmer than what he did previously. In the previous article that he talked about on Tuesday, he was saying the whole whether Isak stays or goes is on a knife edge. And whether, you know, for instance, if Sesko was to come in, it's not necessarily done and dusted that Isak will go. In this article, is pretty much saying that Sesko would be the Isak replacement. And to be fair, since I've been quoting the Slovenian media like pretty consistently in the channel today, they've said the same thing. They've been very firm and very clear on that if Sesko comes into Newcastle, he is undoubtedly Isak's replacement. So that dashes my hopes of having Isak and Sesko in our lineup. So that dashes my hopes. Not dashes my hopes, but it certainly dents them, to be honest. And it's the same thing is said in Mark Douglas's article, where he's saying Sesko comes in, Isak goes, and we're probably going to get Wissa as well. And that's the kind of overall feel for it in terms of what's happening there. So let me see if there's anything I've missed out on it. Let me read it to you guys. Let me share this tab with you instead. Can you see it? Oh no, you can't see it. Let me take this down. No, put this up instead. No, take this down. Put this up instead. We'll see how much time we've got left. All right, so you can see it. Brilliant. So let's have a little read. And let's see what folks say. A bit of what I've said earlier. From Mark Douglas, newspaper, gives a little bit of fluff at the beginning. It hasn't been great. By the way, we're looking at Jack Credoni as well. He's decent. I will give a little bit more of a scouting report on Thursday, hopefully, about him as well. Okay, so let's see what they say. Plan B was Hugo Ekitike. That didn't work out. Jan Wissa. There's no guarantees, but around Wissa, the newspaper has been told. So indeed, it says, this is in regards to Wissa, it says, indeed, it can be revealed that Brentford's stance on Wissa remains unchanged, despite claims over the weekend that they were becoming more open to selling the forward. I'm beginning to think that Brentford are just copying us. And we saw Wissa today training with Brentford as well. So that's interesting. Newcastle value Wissa at 30 million, and a deal could still be done, but time is ebbing away on that one. So what do you think of that, guys? So how does Sesko fit into it? Truth be told, Newcastle remain hopeful rather than expectant on Sesko. So their confidence is not as big as Man United's is. That's the truth. One source close to the situation has told the iPaper that Manchester United is his preferred destination, and a deal could be agreed quickly if the Red Devils are, as expected, lodge a bid. They have lodged a bid. So again, that's interesting. But that hasn't been communicated directly to Newcastle, where their initial proposal seems to have been met with enthusiasm. Again, and this goes back to what we're saying. One source close to the situation. What does that even mean? Who's close to the situation? Is it Benjamin Sesko's agent? I doubt it. Is it Man United? Probably, because it benefits them. Is it Newcastle United? I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Newcastle source, because even Craig Hopper said the same thing, and he's a Newcastle Northern correspondent. Newcastle have not been confident. Okay, what they've told to journalists hasn't been confident, but what they're doing in action in terms of bidding twice, giving better fees, agreeing transfers, selling the dream, Newcastle dream to Sheshko, to me says confidence. But what they're telling journalists, to me, says we're not so confident, which is crazy. Okay, so one source close to the situation has told the iPaper, that Manchester United is his preferred destination and the deal could be agreed quickly after the Red Devils are expected to lodge bid. Okay, fine. And then it goes on to say, but, however, this has not been directly communicated to Newcastle because Leipzig are not stupid. And that also tells me that Sheshko's camp has not communicated this to Newcastle. Newcastle have not been told this by Sesko. They've not been told this by Leipzig. Who's telling this to everybody is Manchester United, according to the newspaper. And I think this fits into the overall narrative of things. Again, whether that proves to be the case or not is not what I'm trying to prove. I'm trying to understand the narrative and get the gist of the story. Where their initial proposal appears to be met with enthusiasm, but I think it should be met with enthusiasm. We've given a bigger fee, and we've met the personal agreements of Mr. Sesko. So yes, we are met with enthusiasm. So what does this mean for Isak? The intention, in theory at least, should be for Sesko to join Isak in the squad for next season. Okay, this is interesting. The intention, in theory at least, so it's a dream, essentially, or in theory, would be for Sesko to join with Isak in the squad, which is what I would love to see. But it would also open the door for Newcastle to go down a different route, cashing in on a big Liverpool bid for unsettled. Okay, so at first I said that our newspaper was a little bit more concrete on Isak leaving, but it's not the case. What they're saying is the intention, in theory at least, I don't know if it's an opinion or it's given a source here, but I'm going to say it's an opinion, would be for Sesko to join Isak in the squad for next season. Because remember, we're maintaining not for sale for Isak, but it would also open the door for Newcastle to go down a different route. So what's that route? Cashing in on a big enough Liverpool bid for an unsettled Isak. That is a possibility. Adding another striker and then using the financial headroom to make significant signings elsewhere. So what everybody's been saying, get Sesko, get Wissa, sell Isak, make money, and be happy. If it's me, if it's Toon Tactics TV, if it's Philip, I'm saying get Sesko, keep Isak, sell somebody else, and live happy. Sources have also been adamant that they need two strikers before considering any sell. Newcastle need two strikers. Even then, even if Newcastle gets two strikers, it would only be this is if you sell Isak, if Liverpool match their valuation of close to 150 million. I used to be able to say close to 150 million. Craig Pope says 150 plus million. So it's interesting to see where we are with the evaluation. So there's still a long way to go. Time is running out. Others inside Newcastle are even more steadfast that Isak will remain at St. James's Park. Very interesting. But if the striker agitates enough for the move, it will make that position difficult to hold. Well, it might be a position where we have to hold if we can't get the strikers in that we want. Newcastle have left the path open for Isak to be reintegrated by Eddie Howe because he's a masterful manager. Struck the right note when he said the striker would have to earn the right to return to training. Absolutely. Everybody loved that, so did I, that quote. Only one thing is guaranteed in this messy and complex situation, and what's that? Newcastle's under-fire recruitment team cannot afford to let another week pass them by, and I agree. Newcastle have an absolutely crucial week ahead well, we've got another 3 days in this week, or 4 or 5 days left. So we have to make haste in terms of our signings overall, and hence why I think Newcastle have given a deadline to Sesko and to Leipzig, really to Leipzig, I think, about what's going to happen. Because if Newcastle leave the table, that leaves Leipzig with a lower transfer fee, with a lower offer from Man United. If Newcastle stick to their deadline, their hard deadline of 48 hours, which I think is today, that only leaves Man United, and that leaves Leipzig with a lower fee. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay, Ben Jacobs bomber. Let's see what we've got. Let me do it with you guys. Okay, let me stop sharing. Let me see if I can find it, and then I'll share it with you guys. Ben Jacobs bomber, or is it Ben Jacobs cracker? Okay, all right. So let's get on to it. Okay, thank you for that, guys. Thank you, Kaz Never a Foul. Looks like we've got some news. Let's get into it. Let's read it, and let's see what is going on. Have I got the right tab? Yep, hopefully. Okay, let me make sure you guys can see that. All right, brilliant. And guys, hit those likes. Let me know what's going. Let me know if we've hit the 100 likes. As always, you do a phenomenal job in terms of getting the channel out there, hitting the likes, hitting the notification bells. You've been absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so this is in the last 6 minutes, so just before midnight, just before the deadline. Let's read this properly now. Ben Jacob says, understand, Benjamin, do you mean I understand? Understand Benjamin Sesko has made it clear this evening he wants to join Manchester United. Okay. Newcastle have today offered improved terms, and their bid to Leipzig remains the stronger of the two clubs. But there is now a growing sense of confidence within Manchester United that Sesko will join if the clubs reach a deal. Okay, Manchester United focus is on trying to reach an agreement with Leipzig as the club believes Sesko is waiting for them. Okay, I don't see how this is different from what Fabrizio Romano said earlier. Let's go through this. Let me go through this. Let me see where I'm going. Okay, so the focus on the top line. So understand that Benjamin Sesko has made it clear this evening he wants to join Manchester United. I don't see how that's different from what we've been hearing throughout this whole process between Man United, Newcastle, and Benjamin Sesko. It is, I think Alex Crook is saying it as well. Okay, fine. He wants to join Manchester United. That isn't something that hasn't changed. Where it becomes interesting is that Newcastle have today offered improved terms, and their bid to Leipzig remains the stronger of the two clubs. Okay, so Newcastle United, despite this, have continued to bid. I don't know what Newcastle at this point know. Are they aware that he wants to join Manchester United? If they're not aware, because Benjamin Sesko is not telling them that he wants to join Man United, then that would make sense that they would continue to give a bigger bid. If they're aware that he wants to join Man United and they're still bidding for him, that wouldn't make sense. So if they're still bidding for him, there must be indication from the players' camp and from Leipzig that there is still potential they can get him. That's all I can read from that. Let me know what you think. Kaz, anybody in the channel. But anyway, and it goes on to say, but there is now a growing sense of confidence within Manchester United. So how do we know there's a growing sense within Manchester United that Sesko will join the clubs? Because it's Manchester United, I think, that are leaking this information to Ben Jacobs, right? If we're breaking down articles, again, I'm not saying this is a false report, this is fake news, this isn't happening, it's going to go to Newcastle. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to break down what Mr. Ben Jacobs is saying. But there is now a growing sense of confidence within Manchester United that Sesko will join if the clubs reach an agreement. That if is a big if. We're going to get to that if in a moment. How can Ben Jacobs know there's a growing sense of confidence in Manchester United? It's not going to be Newcastle that's leaking him that information, because Newcastle have no idea what growing sense in Manchester there is, right? It's unlikely to be Leipzig, because Leipzig want to extract as much money as possible. And at this moment in time, they're not getting the bigger bid from Manchester United. They're getting the lower bid. And as Ben Jacobs has said, Newcastle's bid at this time remains stronger. Okay. So it's not Leipzig. It's Manchester United that are telling this to Ben Jacobs. And they could be right, and fair play. But my point is that it's Manchester United that's telling this. I don't think it's Benjamin Šeško's camp. I don't think it's Newcastle. And I don't think it's Leipzig. Okay. Then we go on to the if, because the if is absolutely massive. If the clubs reach a deal, to reach that deal, right, you would have to be able to give more, or at least equal to, whatever Newcastle are giving, right? Because at this moment in time, from what I can see, despite what Man United are saying, again, unlike Isak, because he's the guy to really refer to at this place, at this moment in time. Isak is saying, I want Liverpool, I want Liverpool, I want Liverpool. So he hasn't made, nobody's going in a bidding war with Liverpool at the moment. Šeško is not given that situation. It's still in Leipzig's hands. Can Man United agree fee with Leipzig? That's the key thing. Regardless of what Šeško is saying, because at this moment in time, Šeško has agreed personal terms with both clubs. Then it goes on to the next line again for me, which doesn't change what Fabrizio Romano has been saying, in my opinion. Manchester United's focus is now on trying to reach an agreement with Leipzig, as the club believes Sesko is waiting for them. It's that word believe. And it goes back to what I was saying. Who's given this information to Ben Jacobs? It's not Benjamin Šeško. In my opinion, it's not Benjamin Šeško. It's not Leipzig. It's definitely not Newcastle. And it's not Leipzig, as I've said. Because Leipzig, it makes no sense for Leipzig to be leaking this information. They want 2 bidders. They want 3 bidders, 4 bidders if they could. They got 2. It can only be Man United. Man United can leak all the information they like. And look, they could be right. They could be right. Šeško could be Man United's player tomorrow. But this article from Ben Jacobs isn't any different from what Fabrizio Romano said, that there's a growing sense in Manchester United that Mr. What's his name? Mr. Šeško wants to go to Man United. So I'll be honest at this moment. I'm not moved. I don't know what you guys think. It hasn't changed in terms of, in terms of like what Fabrizio Romano said. Man United believe that he wants them. They haven't agreed a fee. Newcastle have the better bid. They haven't walked away. Sesko's not, he might be saying it to Man United, I want to join you, but he's also agreed personal terms of Newcastle. I just don't, yeah, I don't know. Come back up to me with something. Let me know I'm deluded or something. I don't know. Like, not enough to say that, but like, let me know. It hasn't changed what I thought was. I thought it was like more definitive, i.e., Man United and Leipzig have agreed a fee. Okay, so I've just realized we're getting past midnight, and I wanted to talk about other things in a moment. Do I have time? Okay. Let me know in the chat. Okay, I'll give it another 20 minutes. Let me, if you guys are willing to hang with me for another 20 minutes, write 2020 in the chat. If I get 2020s in the chat, in the chat, I will continue with the other stuff I wanted to talk about today as well. So if I get 2020s in the chat, I will continue with the stuff. Otherwise, we'll conclude now, and I'll talk about the other stuff on Thursday's show. But yeah, let me know, folks. I'll be so curious to see. Martin Bland, even, he says, breaking news: Benjamin Sesko to Newcastle United is not dead yet. The horse's mouth is always good for facts and not fiction. It's narratives. Newcastle going to have to play false nine as to this. Okay, you guys talking a bunch of souls there. Let me see what you guys are saying so far. Tons of stuff in the chat. You've been absolutely phenomenal. God bless you guys for that. Let me know how many likes we got, guys. Have we broken 100? Have we broken 100? Okay, here's the 20s. 1, 22, 23, 20. If we get 2020s, 4 20s, 5 20s. If 2020s, and I'll let you know the other start. 8, 9, 10, 11. Someone said 50. All right, I'll take 50 then. 104 likes. We've got 104 likes. Thank you for that, Cy Robson. And you've been here right from the beginning, guys. Again, absolutely phenomenal. And just for that, I'm gonna give it another 20 minutes, and we'll talk about the other thing the other stuff I wanted to talk about as well that adds to it. And we've got more 20s as well. A lot of folks that I haven't seen before as well. You guys are so welcome, and rival fans as well. And it's again privileged to have our guys from Never a Foul on here. Kaz, let me know if it's you or whoever it is from Never a Foul. God bless you guys for coming on. Absolute privilege to have you guys on. And I'm sure the folks in the chat are making you feel welcome. Before I go and move on, let me just add this chat from Gaz and UFC. Philip, the positivity is brilliant, but come on, it was clear as day. 2 days ago, Sesko always wants the Man United. We shouldn't have tabled a bid without the players' consent. But what makes you say that we've tabled a bid without the players' consent, Gaz? Because I don't think Newcastle would do that. And I think this is what I was saying, and we were talking about it earlier. When you're going for it's a war. It's a negotiation war. Man United, not just Man United, but any club are going to throw every trick of the book. Look how Isak is he's not even he's turned up to training now, but he went to Spain when he should have went to Singapore. Through the media, the pressure through the media, the overall narrative, Liverpool are after Isak, the intermediaries, everything. That's all part of the situation. And this has been the whole thing with Newcastle. The information I believe that's been leaked from Man United, and it could be true, but if I read the same sources that Man United fans also lean towards, your Ben Jacobs, your Fabrizio Romanos, even Sasha Tavelleri's, well, never Sasha Tavelleri, but they've also said that Mr. Sesko has agreed personal terms with both clubs. So you can't just, so Newcastle are not bidding for no reason. Craig Hope came out 2 days ago saying he wants to join Newcastle. That's why we've tabled another bid. So we're not bidding blind here. We're not bidding in hope. But what Man United are doing, and they should be doing this, that's what you should when you're fighting to get the player that you want, are leaking information to the news, are giving out a narrative that he only wants Man United, or at least what they're giving their half of the story. He probably has told them, "Hey, if you win, this is what I think. I think Sesko has given control to Leipzig and said to Leipzig, look, I've agreed personal terms with both Man United and with Newcastle. If all things were equal, I'll probably go to Man United. But the club that I respect and loyal to is Leipzig. I want Leipzig to be able to get as high a fee as possible from this deal because there's still a benefit for me to go into Newcastle United. I could be the next Isak. I'm going to be going to Champions League. I'll go to Champions League in the next season. They're winning cups now. They have an incredible fan base, right? So there's still benefits to going to Newcastle. You know, when people are bantering so hard and saying small club this and small club that, they completely forget that they're completely just saying nobody wants to go to Newcastle. It's not true. There's a reason why we finished fifth in the league. It's because we've got an incredible squad, right? So Newcastle, in my view, are not bidding blind. Man United are doing what they should be doing. They're throwing every trick in the book. They're probably turning up to him and saying, we're Man United, bro. We're the club of Cristiano Ronaldo, George Best, Eric Cantona, all this other stuff. You could be our next so-and-so. You could be our next so-and-so. Then going to Ben Jacobs, going to Fabrizio Romano, going to the others saying, this guy, this Sesko, he's loving Man United. I don't even know why Newcastle are even competing in the race. If the race is over, the race is done. Why are they even bidding? Is to get into the minds of the opposing half. And for some Newcastle folks, it has gone into their minds, but not the main guys. Not the main guys, the guys that are actually doing the bidding, who I think is Jamie Rubin. Jamie Rubin and the others have gone up and they've continued talking to Sesko. They've continued to bid. They've bidded absolutely phenomenal bids to Sesko. They've given him his 200k, alleged 200k, 190k. Newcastle are breaking their wage barrier. They're telling him, we're going to break our wage barrier for you. You're going to be Isak's replacement. You're going to be more than Isak's replacement. After we're done developing you, your people are going to forget about who Isak is. And you know how you can trust us on that? You can ask Joe Linton, ask Anthony Gordon, ask Isak, ask Hall, ask Livramento, ask any player that has joined Newcastle United, are they a better player since joining Newcastle United? Well, yes, 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 and yes again. So there is that selling point. We're in the Champions League as well. We're going to be competing for competitions. You're going to have another striking partner. We're going to buy more players as well. We're only getting stronger. We're only getting better. If we qualify for the Champions League again, the PSR is going to get loosened. Even the money from the Shishka, if we are going to sell Isak, although I hope the theory is to play alongside Isak, but then that is what they'll be telling him. So I don't think, just to say this, Newcastle are not bidding blind. I think Sesko has not only indicated that he wants to go to Newcastle as well as to Man United, but he's also agreed personal terms with them. And hence why Newcastle continued to bid and to stay in the race. So we'll see what happens. I just don't want to be, I am going to be hearing it, that Newcastle are lacking ambition when it's clearly that we're not. Okay. Moving on from Sesko, moving on from Isak. This is the other point I want to make quickly because I don't have much time. Evan Gusand is a forward who played for Nice, is now going to be playing for Aston Villa. And we discussed him before on this channel as a possible replacement for Callum Wilson as well. But Newcastle never went for him. And I wanted to make this quick point. Aston Villa today have signed Gusson for 30 million plus 5 million add-ons. Their bid was accepted. He's going for a medical. Aston Villa competed with Crystal Palace to get Evan Gusson. Newcastle United are competing with Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, for one of the biggest talents in the world, in Benjamin Sesko. What I'm saying is that Newcastle could have taken the easier route, which is Evan Gusson. Forget Benjamin Sesko, forget Ekatike, forget Delap, forget João Pedro. Let's go for Evan Gusson, compete with Villa, compete with Crystal Palace, who both clubs don't have Champions League or the financial backing that we have. Well, Villa do. Essentially saying we're going to take the path of least resistance. And we can avoid the hassle of rejections. We can avoid the hassle of getting bantered online and on the street. We can avoid the hassle of rival fans saying to us, look how many times people have rejected Newcastle. Newcastle is a small club and all these other things. And we get a player who's good, but he's not going to take us to that next level. Newcastle United have said, we're going to go for the best. If we're going to have to lose our best player, or one of our best players, then let's replace him with another great player, or another player who has the potential to be a great player. So I wanted to make that point for all the folks, and I understand the online banter, the WhatsApps, everything else. Everyone's getting from their friends and family. But this thing about lack of ambition and stuff like that, that is not Newcastle's problem. Lack of ambition is the least of Newcastle's problem. For me, the owners and whoever's going and whoever's doing the, all those that are involved are attempting to go for the best in class, and they're competing with legacy clubs to do it. And I commend them for doing that. We could have Evan Gusson, and we can avoid, like I said, all the hassle, and we can all slap our backs and convince ourselves that Evan Gusson he's probably better than Ekatike. He's probably better than Benjamin Sesko. He's the next in line after Isak, but we know that he's not. Do you know how we know that he's not? Because it's only Villa and Crystal Palace that went for him, and he got sold for 30 million. So if people are that sensitive to rejection and to banter, and we all have a moment, I'm not saying I'm a robot, we all have a moment, but it should never keep us away from the main thing being the main thing. And that is for Newcastle United to become number one. And to be number one, you have to compete with the best. You have to compete with the best. You can't compete with Villa and with Crystal Palace, with all respect to Villa and Crystal Palace, to get Evan Gusson. You have to compete with a big legacy club like Manchester United to try and get Benjamin Sesko. You have to compete with Liverpool to get Ekatike. You have to compete with Chelsea to get Delap and João Pedro. You have to compete with Real Madrid to get your Dean Huijsens. You have to go this route. So I wanted to point that story out there, and that's why we're standing it. Again, like I said, I'm not standing here saying, yeah, I'm bulletproof. Oh, give me all the banter you like. I'm not saying that. But through all that banter, I know my club is going for quality. And through all that banter from those that support legacy clubs, those fans have never seen their club go from ground zero. I've seen relegation twice, and I've seen Champions League twice in 3.5 years. I've seen the bottom of the bottom, like all Newcastle United fans have seen. We've seen 14, 15 years of Mike Ashley. I don't care what anybody says. Top tier, one of the worst owners in Premier League history. And now we've got a PIF. Thank you to PIF. So, and you can quote me on that. So anyway, I also wanted to quickly touch on alternatives that Newcastle could be looking at. Obviously, what's interesting, by the way, guys, I don't know if you noticed, I'm gonna skip Goncalo Ramos and go to Watkins. Evan Goussond going to Aston Villa. In my mind, and I don't know if there's any Aston Villa fans in the channel, but in my mind, it opens the door for Watkins to leave. Now, where does Watkins go? We know Man United have been interested in him. Newcastle United have been interested in him. Where does he go? But I think that's a very, very, very interesting situation. I just wanted to take note of that's happened. So, and he's also, obviously, Mr. Watkins, one of our alternatives. Goncalo Ramos, by the way, just going back up, Goncalo Ramos is also available on the market. PSG are willing to sell for 55 million. It's interesting they said pounds, right? PSG are in France. They may be using euros. So I think pounds is very intentional. It's going to be around 60, 65 million euros, right? So it's 55 million pounds. Is it going to be an all-round package or whatever? Let's see. He's a very different striker to your Benjamin Šeškos, to your Nicholas Jackson's, who's at the bottom there. You know, he prefers to play off the shoulder as the forward. You know, he prefers not to play deep and collect the ball, but to be on the last line of the defense, on the shoulder of the defender. That's where he does his best work. You know, PSG don't play like that. They want forwards that can dribble, that have technique, that can collect the ball deep and push and carry the ball and dribble and get past players. Hence why they've got Ousmane Dembele. So in those circumstances, Goncalo Ramos isn't getting in there. So if we do get Goncalo Ramos, I don't even know if that's a direct replacement for Isak. I think Goncalo, for me, he's a replacement for Wilson, because Isak can collect the ball from deep. And I don't see Newcastle just changing, unless obviously we get Ramos and a Wissa type of player, or a Ramos and a Nicholas Jackson, who can collect the ball from deep and connect the play and get it off to Goncalo Ramos. We could have a Goncalo Ramos and Nicholas Jackson pairing. That would make a hell of a window, I'll tell you that. So speaking of Nicholas Jackson, he's also available. What also is interesting is that Aston Villa are very interested in Nicholas Jackson. And it'll be interesting to know what happens now, because if Watkins goes, Evan Goussond is there. Is Evan Goussond there for Watkins or for instance, Morgan Rogers? Because we know Chelsea are also interested in Morgan Rogers. So it could be that Watkins goes to Man United or to Newcastle. And Evan Goussond obviously takes over at Villa. Morgan Rogers goes to Chelsea. Nicholas Anelka goes to Aston Villa. So Aston Villa have Evan Goussond and they have Nicholas Jackson up front. Chelsea have Morgan Rogers. Chelsea and Man United or Newcastle have Ollie Watkins. But I know also Man United are looking to sell Garnacho to Chelsea as well. So it would also make sense for some sort of deal to happen between Chelsea and Man United as well. So there's a lot going on. It's going to be a cracking end of transfer window, honestly. So those are the alternatives, but those alternatives also have alternatives in terms of the clubs they could go to. So this Benjamin Šeško thing, the deal is huge for Newcastle. It's absolutely huge. Let's see what happens. I'll take your comments and then I will finish up on Malik Thiaw. He's gone under the radar because we've got all this stuff on on what's his name, on Sesko. Even Isak today has gone under the radar because under my radar anyway. Uh, because so there's a lot going on. There is a lot going on. All right, so I've missed a few. Where is it? I missed someone's chat. Was it Wobojog? Yes, it is Wobojog. Here we go. So Wobojog asks, and again, guys, you've been absolutely electric with the chat, electric with the likes. We broke the 100 barrier. God bless you guys, everyone that's come on the show. And you demanded for extra time. So Wobojog, Phil, which I have the privilege of doing with you guys, and I appreciate. Wobojog says, "Let me just drink water." Goodness, guys, I always need 2 bottles of water during this show. I could have none and have no one to chat to. So God bless you guys for that. Wobojog says, "Phil, I don't know if this go hard and go home strategy is an optimal one for NUFC at this current stage. A lot of good work is put at risk unnecessarily, in my opinion." What's the alternative, Warbujok? We get Evan Gusson, we get players that nobody wants, and for good reason, not because they have, they're bad people, but just like they're not as good as quality as the ones that we could get. That's the alternative. And in the short term, that's great. You get the players, you can tell people we've got players. We're all good. We're not as bad as people say we are. But in the medium to long term, it affects your team and what you can do in the market. Excuse me, it affects your performance of your team. It gives us less likelihood or less probability to qualify for the Champions League again or to compete for trophies. So the medium to long term isn't great at this stage as well. So, but yeah, you might have something better in terms of to come back with, Robert. Let me know. Always love listening to your takes. SB says not having a proper recruitment team at the moment is Newcastle's biggest problem. I think during the transfer window, it's not been as sophisticated and as big as some other clubs for sure, but they've been doing what they can. And at the end of the day, our sporting director in Paul Mitchell left 2 days into the transfer window. That's insane. So what can we do about that? Oberjog says, Phil, I don't know if this. Oh, I think I've read this right. Yeah, I have read this one. Okay, so let me see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Oh my word. Big up to Shane, Considine, Ty, host, and chat. Whoever gets Sesko, I won't hold it against you. Night. God bless you, Shane. Welcome to the channel. Ethan NUFC says, this Sam has been in every stream I have went in. Sam? Oh, big up Sam. God bless you. Great to have you on, sir. Toon Tactics. Big up to you. United Forever says, I'm assuming if you've thrown the kitchen sink at Sheshko, 90 million euros, Champions League football, decent project, still chose the real United. Has there been a conclusion to this whilst I've been on stream? Maybe I'm missing out. Let me know, guys. Has there been an agreement now? I can't see anything. Let me know if a fee has been agreed, guys, between either club. Let me know. All right, so Oh, Register Kev says Ben Jacobs said he prefers us and Fab also retweet the United. Yeah, I don't know if you saw Register Kev. I broke down Ben Jacobs's comments again. Like you said, it coincides with Fab's. I think just in a quick summary, I think it's Man United leaking information to Ben Jacobs. I don't think it's Leipzig. I don't think it's Newcastle, and I don't think it's anyone from Sesko's camp. The reason being is that Newcastle, as Ben Jacobs has said, have given another improved offer, which is a better offer in comparison to Man United. Newcastle would not do that if, as of this hour, Benjamin Sesko has outrightly told them, stop, you don't need to do this. Like, I'm going to Man United. So that hasn't happened as of yet. And that you still need to agree a fee with Leipzig. So at this stage, for me, those comments haven't changed anything in terms of the situation. So, yeah, that was my kind of breakdown of it. But do stream back and you'll see it as well. But thanks for that, Register. All right, Regista, sorry. Finally, Malik Thiaw. We've done a scouting report on him before. We might have to do another one on him again because speaking of Fabrizio Romano. Understand. Why don't they ever say I understand? Why are Ben Jacobs and Fabrizio just say understand? Do you mean I understand? Understand. Newcastle are set to approach AC Milan for Malik Thiaw. I do not believe that Newcastle United are leaking this information to him. They could be, but I don't think they are. There's probably intermediaries from AC Milan and from Newcastle, probably intermediaries from both camps rather than direct club sources. And agents, probably agents from Malik Thiaw's side. Understand that Newcastle are set to approach AC Milan for Malik Thiaw. And the reason they're saying this is, again, AC Milan, just like Leipzig, just like Eintracht Frankfurt, want to get a bidding war going. It makes no sense for Newcastle to leak this information to Fabrizio Romano, especially on the back of all the heat they're getting, but also it doesn't make any sense to leak this information to Fabrizio Romano and attract other players and attract other clubs to this situation. So I think it's likely to come, whether it's intermediaries or associates to AC Milan, related to AC Milan, to let people know that, hey, Mr. Malik Thiaw is on offer. Do you want to come and bid? Because Newcastle are at the table. So understand Newcastle's. I understand, Mr. Fabrizio. I understand Newcastle is set to approach AC Milan for Malik Thiaw. Talks will follow as Thiaw is already an important player for Allegri after Como deal off in July. So okay, he must be tired. Talks will follow as Thiaw is already an important player. So talks will follow between Newcastle and AC Milan. And then he gives AC Milan's side, says he's an important player for Max Allegri after Como deal is off in July. So this is what this line is saying. And for the folks that aren't aware, AC Milan had agreed with Como, agreed a fee of £25 million or euros with Como to sell Malik Thiaw. What stopped the deal is Malik Thiaw. Malik Thiaw stopped the deal. Malik Thiaw does not want to go to Como. The problem now for AC Milan is that they've let everybody and their grandmother know that they're willing to sell Malik Thiaw, that is not important to their squad, which is the opposite of what they're trying to say here, and that they're willing to sell him for £25 million. The fee they've already agreed with another club. So if Newcastle or any other club coming for Malik Thiaw now, they'll say to AC Milan, £25 million, please, which is what you agreed with Como. AC Milan don't have the maneuverability to say, we want 30 million, we want 40 million. The buying club will say, we know he's not important in your plans, despite what you say about Max Allegri. We know that you're willing to sell him for £25 million as well. Please. So that's where it's so this is why I think it's AC Milan source. Newcastle aren't going to say, We know that even though they try to sell him, we know that he's still important. It doesn't make sense for them. It doesn't make sense for Malik Thiaw to say this, or anyone from his camp to say this, because it makes his sell a little bit more difficult. Or unless he also wants to keep his options open. So there might be maybe there are other clubs he'll be looking at as well. So that's still open. But I think the way this has been leaked, the way that's been described, it's likely to have come from AC Milan sources, which is again what every selling club should do. Try and get as many bidders as you can. And the last line is NUFC, Newcastle United, will try to open discussions over price soon. And that's the last thing, over the price. AC Milan are setting their stall out, but it's a very weak stall. We know that you don't want Malik Thiaw. We know you're willing to sell him, and we know that he's willing to leave. So they have very limited leverage. For instance, if you compare them to Leipzig, who absolutely played an incredible game there as well. So yeah, it's good. It's a very long for most Newcastle fans who follow Newcastle and our transfer news. They'll know that Malik Thiaw is another long-term target for Newcastle United. So it's not unreasonable to see him. Hopefully, if we do get him over the line, we'll do a revamp of his scouting report. We'll do an improved one and see where we go. Okay, so before I conclude the show, let me just go to the comments and see what you guys are saying. Ginesta Wijnaldum says Malik Thiaw is Milan's fourth choice centre back. Right. That adds even more context there. Thank you for that, Ginesta. Malik Thiaw is Milan's fourth choice centre back currently. He's had two very underwhelming seasons. Yep. But he was great 3 seasons ago. So I'm guessing Newcastle are buying on the dip here. You know, his value is dipped, and Eddie Howe and his team are backing them. So the value is dipped, so you can get him for cheaper. But also, Eddie Howe and the owners are backing Eddie Howe to be able to get Mr. Thiaw back to what he was 3 seasons ago. Mamo Gay says Fabrizio always lies. I don't think he always. There's occasions he tells the truth. There's occasions he is paid to tell other clubs truths and not others. And there's just occasions he works in the interests of those that pay him and those relationships that he wants to keep with the bigger clubs. So read into that what you will. BT says Martin Bland. Okay, talking to Martin Bland. Ginga or Ginger Bish says Newcastle United moving like Travel Lodge right now. Turn down service as standard. Big up for the banter. BT says AC Milan agreed a deal for Thiaw with Como. So it's even £21 million. So it's even lower. Why would we pay more? Exactly. And that's the conundrum that AC Milan are in. Fourth choice centre back, Ginesta now let me know. They've already tried to sell him for 21 million. He doesn't want to be there. They don't want him there. Please, 21 million, and let us go. Let us go. Subscribe if you haven't already. So close to 900. Are we close to 900 subs? We've broken 100 likes. We've broken 100 likes. We're close to 900 subs. Absolutely phenomenal. You guys are incredible. You turn up, unlike some of our. You guys turn up to train, unlike some of our strikers. God bless you guys. Smokey says, guys, can we get the like up to 140? That would be absolutely phenomenal. Matt Lou says him and Botman would be great for us. Well, Matt Lou, and I have to give Sean Casey credit for this, for everyone that knows Sean Casey. If folks will remember, Paolo Maldini, when he was trying to get Sven Botman, Malik Thiaw, he wanted to partner Sven Botman with Malik Thiaw at AC Milan. And if anybody knows anything about Paolo Maldini, they know that he knows a little bit about defending. It was amazing about defending. So if he saw the vision of a Sven Botman and Malik Thiaw partnering for his beloved AC Milan, then who are we? Who are we to say no to that? All right, so let me finish off with the. Let me conclude the show. Let me finish off with the chats and conclude the show. I'm sure there's a record show in terms of like time and everything. Wobblejog says, think there's time. There's a happy medium balance. Okay, that's going before the previous time between likelihood of transfer completion and quality of player. For example, targeting Watkins at the beginning of a window would have been better than Sesko now. Targeting Watkins works. You have to remember that I see what you're saying. Remember, we've got an unsettled striker in Isak, so we have to resolve that. So the players that we've been getting are either to replace Isak, whether this year or the next year. So we've gone for them first. The Isak situation has complicated things, so we've had to go for different players. And who's to say that Watkins would have been cheaper? Remember, he's approaching 30 years old. I think Aston Villa have been quoted as 50 to 60 million for him. Why pay 50 to 60 million for Watkins when you can get when you can get similar price for a younger player and better value? So I think it sounds good on paper, get Watkins because he's supposed to be easy to get. But Villa don't want to sell to their rivals. Man United tried to buy Watkins for 40 million or 50 million. Villa said no. So even with that strategy, and I just don't see. There's flaws in it as well. Anyway, but I appreciate you for that, Wobble Jog. Nick Fodley says, I'm afraid to sub. Let me know why you're afraid to sub, Nick, before I close off the show. Mr. Kev says, Philip, tell Newcastle to go for Mbappe next year. I wouldn't mind him at Manchester United. Except for Mbappe prefers to play in clean stadiums that have high food hygiene ratings register. So I think that counts you out. We've got 878 subs. Amazing. Thank you, Sarah Robson, for letting me know. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so wow, 2 hours and 25 minutes. But guys, because you guys are phenomenal. And we wanted to do this extra part of the show as well. So, concluding the show, we did a detailed a kind of breakdown of the media narrative of the whole Sesko, Newcastle, Man United situation and what it could all mean. My conclusion is that it is in Leipzig's hands. I think Mr. Sesko has agreed personal terms with both clubs. I wouldn't be surprised if he leans towards Man United because they're a bigger club. But he also sees the benefits of Newcastle when he sees how numerous players have developed and the fact that they're in Champions League. And he can see that he can see his playing style working very well at Newcastle. So he's agreed personal terms of both Newcastle and of Man United, and he's given the final decision to Leipzig. Leipzig hold all the cards. Newcastle have given the bigger bid. Man United are still working towards that. Will Man United match the bid? If Man United do not match the bid, they're either going to rely on Sesko forcing the move, which he hasn't done up to this time, or they're relying on Leipzig to just do them a favor, which after all this time and effort Leipzig have put in in to be able to get the most money as possible from this Sesko transfer, which they need, I don't see them doing. I think they'll give it to the club who gives them the better bid. So that's just my take. That's just my theory. We've got fans, not just Man United fans, other rival fans saying this deal is done, Sheshko is going to Man United, da. I get that. But there's also other fans, probably a smaller group of fans, because there's even Newcastle fans who have all lost all hopes and beliefs that this is not happening. We'll see. We've talked about Isak a little bit and his situation. At this rate, he's staying at Newcastle. But we read an article from Mark Douglas, kind of tying it all together. The Sheshko situation, again, kind of saying the same thing, really. What we've just talked about, but also how it ties into Isak. The theory could be that Isak and Sheshko could be playing together, but there's also the other possibility of Sheshko coming in, Wissa coming in, Isak being sold. So that's also a possibility. But this week is absolutely crucial to Newcastle United. Then we've also talked about alternatives to Sheshko and other players in terms of Nicholas Jackson, Ollie Watkins, and Goncalo Ramos. All of those players are alternatives that we can bring in. They all have benefits and flaws to their game in what they do. And they've also have alternatives in terms of the clubs that they could join. So there's that too. So then we ended it on Mr. Malik Thiaw. Newcastle are about to enter negotiations according to Fabrizio Romano. I've mentioned I think AC Milan have leaked this to Fabrizio Romano in an effort to get other bidders involved, because they're in a AC Milan are in a vulnerable position, because Mr. Malik Thiaw, because they had agreed a £21 million fee with Como for Malik Thiaw. He's their fourth choice centre back. He wants to leave. They want him to leave. So they're in a very vulnerable position unless they get other bidders involved. Otherwise, Newcastle come in and just collect him for £21 million. Buy him at the dip. And again, you can see the trust that Eddie Howe's team has in that they believe that they can revive. And lastly, thank you, the chat. Folks in the comments, we've again broken the 100 likes barrier. We've had about 140, 150 people here at one point. We've got nearly 900 subscribers. I'm sure we're going to have again, incredible amount of views. It is down to you. We've done nearly 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's down to you because you guys have demanded it as well for extra time. It's been absolutely phenomenal talking to you guys, engaging with you guys. And I really look forward to when Adam says, great show, amazing, and 125 likes, guys. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal from all of you. As always, guys, make sure, and we're gonna catch up again next week Thursday, which by then times we'll know where we are with Mr. Sheshko. We'll know with Sheshko, with Isak. We'll know a little bit more about Isak and Isak. Jeez Louise, about all these things. But you can tell it's getting late. Guys, make sure you look after each other. And as always, folks, God bless.